Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Julie Boyer and I'm leading you through this self-love project. Whether you're listening or watching, I'm so excited that you decided to join us today. I am with someone I care very deeply about. Karen, Shumka, and I have known each other for over a decade. We've worked together, we've traveled together, we've taught together, we've masterminded together. And I'm just so excited because to me, Karen is someone who can really tap into the energetic field and create really incredible things that I actually never really knew were possible through the work she does through body code. So Karen, I'm so excited to have you here. And just so that people can get to know you a little bit, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are and how you came to be the Karen I know today?
Wow, thanks so much. I'm so excited to be here. Well, I am one of Julie's biggest fans. Let's start there. We have a friendship that I have come to treasure over this last year, and I'm so grateful that you've moved out to my coast. So sorry to all your friends back there, but I'm glad you're here. I am first and foremost a pianist. You can see my piano over there. I'm an opera coach. I worked with singers. I love breath. I love coaching in general, which is, I know, something that you and I share deeply and passionately. And through another expansion into business, I landed in this new world of energy. And we've always heard this phrase, everything is energy, everything is energy. And we start to open up our minds to just how much everything is energy. And if that's true, what does that mean in this moment and time for the energy of this particular brand of coffee, or this particular sweater that I happen to really love because it has no sleeves, or the energy of the car that my 18-year-old is right now out there buying. You know, there's energy in that whole transaction that we bring into business. It's the energy of our relationships. And through pain, I'll underline that a couple times, through my own physical pain that I couldn't freaking heal myself, I was invited to explore this body of work that's really popular on the internet right now. It's called the emotion code. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the emotion code is where you and I might see a child get really, really hurt, and you might go home and chat with your husband and color, paint, sing, you'll go walk your dog on the beach for 4 hours and go to 12 sunrises and really process it. And I might have post-traumatic stress.
Right.
I have trapped panic, sheer panic. And panic is a different vibration than shame. Joy is a different vibration than panic. And so my subconscious knows exactly what I have trapped. And through muscle testing and this body of work called the emotion code, is so simple. My subconscious is going to go, panic. We clear it. I no longer have post-traumatic stress. Sounds crazy simple. In my mind, my pain goes away, and I'm like, wow, everything really is energy, right? Because I did everything I could physically to fix the physical thing.
Yeah.
And it was just really, really trapped energy. And so that was the beginning of my journey into this. And so I quickly became certified because I could see in the business that I was running where all these things were stuck. You know, people get trapped in fear.
Yeah.
You know, not you, but people.
No, definitely never me.
Fear. Anxiety is a whole level of vibration that is, I think we have a collective consciousness of trapped around that. Yeah. And then that led me into body code. So this is the future of medicine. And it's trusting that your body actually knows. So when you can connect with a medical practitioner who can ask your subconscious the right questions, you can get on the right path a whole lot faster. That's one way of it, using it.
So this is so interesting. And one thing I've always been a little bit curious about is how exactly, like we are a little bit more familiar with emotion code. And I'm curious about what the connection is between the work you're doing in emotion code, and then how does body code fit in? Is it another layer? Is it a different technique? What's the relationship between the two of those?
So it was begun by a gentleman named Dr. Bradley Nelson, and he's a chiropractor. And he started to realize that he could adjust people all day long, but they weren't holding the adjustments. But if he addressed the issue in their liver, all of a sudden things could be addressed. And he started to really download all these maps, put together his years and years of experience in his practice of where the organs are in the body and misalignments, and then created these mind maps, of which emotion code is a tiny, tiny little portal inside a portal called energy. So there are 6 portals that have mind maps all behind them that we can go muscle testing our way through and use some intuition. And the first one is energies, and deep in there is emotion code.
Okay.
And then there's circuits and systems, which is all our glands and organs. And then there's pathogens, which are kind of obvious. And the other one, viruses and all those kinds of things. Toxins, toxins is a biggie in our environment. Just sitting bathed in Wi-Fi is a biggie. And then misalignments. And I didn't realize anything can become misaligned. Anything. Your eyeball can become misaligned. Okay. Your microbiome, which is your favorite topic, it can become misaligned. And you can even have trapped emotions in your microbiome. And then the last one, which is where you and I first became friends, was in this world of nutrition and lifestyle.
Right.
Which is enormous. And you've taught me so much about gratitude for our food and sourcing our food and the energy of food and the alignment with food. But there's so much more than just food behind that portal. And that's one of the big adventures that I'm exploring. So those are the 6 portals.
Okay.
Behind them are other mind maps. And it sounds complicated, but your subconscious remembers everything you ever did, felt, smelled, tasted, heard, experienced in your entire life. It remembers every dream that you've ever forgotten. It's all in there. We know that in hypnotherapy, you just go in and, with the right questions, stuff comes up.
Yeah.
The difference is, this is like a program that's all ready to be run. Your subconscious is bringing this up, and we just go clear, 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 clear. And all we care about is results.
Yeah.
Results.
And you and I have had many body code sessions, and I really enjoyed it because stuff comes up and you're like, okay, let's just get that out of the way and clear it. Now, because body code is probably not something people are really familiar with, depending on, who our audience is that's listening or watching. What do I have to do for a body code session? Like, tell me a little bit about what happens when I meet with you. Do I have to be in person? Do I have to be how does that actually work for a session?
This is where it gets a bit woo-woo. I understand now just how everything is energy. Really, when you look at the strength of this Zoom call, I'm not connected. There's nothing connected to my computer right now. Yeah. I don't have a wire. And it's such a strong connection. We are dialed into each other on purpose. And that is the same thing that happens when you and I do a body code session and you're on the other side of the world. We dial into each other on purpose. You can even be asleep. With your permission, it's like tapping into your Wi-Fi. I can now muscle test as if I knew. It's one of the things I love from my early faith roots heritage is we are so fearfully and wonderfully made. And one of the things that I can do is, as a human, we can set aside our energy and step into somebody else's. We have lots of conversations these days about empaths. They walk into a room and they're already feeling everybody else's stuff. They can feel it in the house next door, it's like crazy.
Yeah.
On purpose. In body code, I say, hey, Julie, I'm going to test as if I were you. Are you cool with that? You say, yes, boom. I am testing however you want to muscle test, and I am no longer Karen. I am you. I like to do it where we're both you and we're both together, because the stronger the intuition, the better. And then we go through the portal. But the first part is, what is the question we want? What is the question we want? So if it's the most pain in your body, because your pain is your soul's way of getting your attention. So if your shoulder is a 9 out of 10 right now and you're close to going to the hospital and you're on your second T3 of the day, we're going to dive into your shoulder. And it could be that the shoulder has trapped some emotions. It could be that you have a heart wall. It could be that you are loaded with toxins, but your body's going to tell us that. And in one at a time, we're going to clear the energy of it. So it's like deleting files.
I love that. It's like deleting files.
You get that, right? Oh crap, I didn't mean to delete that. These we mean to delete.
There's no recovery from the garbage can, right? We can't go into our trash and recover these files. Okay.
And before we start our session, we're going to pay attention to every message your body is giving you. Every message, like everything. We're going to, the shifts can be so subtle. And you might go, wow, I used to have an earache like, every week. And now I haven't had an earache in months.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing we did clear for me. I had this weird itchy ear thing going on for months. And I had medicine and everything, and it like still was bothering me. And then we did body code and it finally disappeared. I was like, oh, thank God. It's driving me crazy. So can you just repeat though? You said your pain is a window to your soul. What did you say for that?
Your pain is your soul's way of getting your attention.
Soul's way of getting your attention. That needs to be like, can you say that one more time?
It is. I'm so sorry.
That was why you're laughing. I love what you said. I'm trying to write it down and be like, all, staring at you, but I'm taking notes.
When it doesn't go away, we're like, but I'm listening. I'm listening.
Right. Okay.
Louise Hay made this so popular, right? God bless her. She just opened up this whole world of understanding that our body parts give us different messages. Our left side is feminine, our right side is more masculine, and we have all these energies inside of us. Anyway, pain is our soul's way of getting our attention, which is why when we take a T3 or a Tylenol or any kind of drug to shut it down, we're shutting down the message. Right. And yes, we have to function, and yes, we have to keep going. But I personally have a story. When I first started rocking one of my businesses, I just ignored my health, which is why I ended up with that crazy pain thing going on. I just ignored it because I tried to take great supplements. I was going to the gym, but I ignored the messages that said, burning the candle at both ends is going to cost you at some point. Not just your physical body, but your relationships, time with your kids, things that are so precious that you cannot go and get back. My baby is buying his car. He's graduated. Like there's things and choices that I made that my body was trying to get my attention. And I am not about judgment. It's one of the things we clear all the time. I'm not saying I was wrong. This is not good. It's not bad. It's just the story that this Karen is writing, and I want to write a better story tomorrow, and more on purpose story.
Yeah. So this is actually like a perfect sort of segue into what this whole project that I'm doing about self-love. And, for those who don't know my story, I moved twice in 10 months. I'm from Ontario, Canada, moved across the country to British Columbia, where Karen is.
I had 2 babies.
Yeah.
So we have
we have that connection, the Ontario connection. So I moved to BC.
And the one that is the moving across the country, which is a big deal. And you might as well be moving to a different country.
Yes. There is actually, it does feel often like you're moving to a different country because I'm so far from the people that I've only known that community. So I moved, and then 10 months later, and we went through a lot of personal trauma and stress with my daughter, and it was just a really bad situation, and we just didn't know how bad it was actually till we got out of it. So 10 months later, we actually moved to Vancouver Island. So we moved from the mainland, we moved to an island, which has been the best thing for us and our family. But in 18 months, I started gaining weight. My business was kind of going downhill. I was like happy and joyful about watching the sunrise and the sunset most days. But inside I was like not enjoying looking in the mirror. My clothes wasn't comfortable. I'm just like judging myself all the time. So the reason I started this project was because I actually got this download that the answer to what I'm looking for actually goes back to self-love and being kind to me first. And, you and I have done a lot of work, which is so great. And I want to share with people, how does body code really help us with this whole self-love and being more kind to ourselves?
Did you tell everybody about finding the rock? She texts me, guys, a rock. She's walking on the beach, and there's virtually a rock there that she texts me a picture of that says self-love on the rock.
Yes, no, I haven't mentioned that story. Because I got this idea for 30 days of self-love. It was a download, which is, I always follow when it's a download, when it just the idea just appears in my head. I'm like, oh, this is the one. And then, I texted Karen. I'm like, I'm going to do this self-love thing. And the next evening I went down to the beach, and there was a rock that someone had painted like right in front of me that said self-love. I was like, well, this is obviously the way that I need to go. So it's all energy, right? Like, I don't know who put that rock there, why they put it there. And they certainly didn't put it there for me, but there it was.
So your question was about how did this circle in?
Yeah.
And so going back to that little tiny piece of emotion code, I very quickly I did this little bit of work with emotion code. It's a great book, buy it, easy read. With two of my friends who knew how to muscle test. I didn't know how to muscle test. I didn't think I could ever learn how to muscle test. It seemed a bit out there, but they were really good at it. So they showed up at my house with a half a bottle of wine and a birthday cake, and they muscle tested, and we moved some energy, and boom, I had no pain, like no pain after so much money and time and attention trying to fix this thing in every which way I knew how. Boom, we move the energy, it's gone. So we told a few friends, because this is what friends do, is we tell a few friends. And so the next week we had like 5 or 6 women in my living room, and we're all like following these charts and trying to figure out what's what. And then we had people that were gifted healers in different modalities coming together. And one of my passions is facilitating genius, or facilitating magic, or as a musician, I can hear all the different instruments coming in and seeing how when we play together, it's going to be a different resonance that nobody has ever heard or felt before. And we know that just resonance can heal. So it was a bit like herding cats, and we didn't know what it was going to look like every week, but we all kind of got in there and opened our hearts and agreed that we would be this circle, and this circle became self-care. At a whole nother level. I knew that I could just fall into my living room every Wednesday night, and there'd be people there that just by loving up somebody else intentionally, that vibration is going to lift me too. You know, when you sent me that rock, it changed my vibration. It changed my, of course we're in this. Of course this is the most important conversation. And I'll just show you on my phone, if I can get rid of the 1,000 texts that are going on right now. I got this picture, whoever's it is on the internet, I just love it. Yeah. And my picture of self-love is that if we go into the very center of you receiving that rock, or me receiving that healing, it affects everything. We change the resonance of everything all around us. And that's the magic. That's how fearfully and wonderfully made we are. So when I'm in the circle and we're healing up somebody else, everything in the room is being touched. Just like when you throw a rock in the ocean, it affects every wave, right? So there's a mystery in that it's so intriguing to me and loves me up at such an incredible level. The practicality of being an energy worker and doing body code on myself is, it will come up that I am not taking good care of myself. Right. There's a portal right in there that says, hello, stop, go to the bathtub, go find your essential oils, or go find your music, or go play the, whatever, go for a walk. And as I've tipped my chronological clock into my 50s, I am much happier in nature, and I know that I can ground quicker by touching a tree and if I could offer everybody just one thing. Can I do it now?
Oh, yes. Offer us the one thing. We're all listening for the one thing.
One thing. It comes up. It's the one thing that if I could go back and train in my children, is that the right word? Like just and they just do it. I do it and they just do it. Root and ground in the morning. I have a tree that I'm looking at right here. I have real trees outside. I have a tree, my favorite tree in my mind's eye. When my feet hit the ground in the morning, I am rooting into the earth. It's just an imagination thing. Yep. But you will shift your entire energy. It's like taking a 2-prong plug that's kind of not even plugged in yet, turning it into a 3-prong plug and plugging it into the earth, because all these frequencies and all these emotions and everything that happened while you were sleeping, boom, you're rooted and grounded. If you are feeling unsettled, if you're feeling anxious, go outside, put your feet in the grass. If you can touch a tree, grab a tree. The grounding is real science. If you go into YouTube and search for earthing, it's a real thing. Athletes use this when they land in another time zone, and they put their feet in the earth and they earth on purpose, and they get their circadian rhythms into that place. If there's one thing you could do for self-care, it's like, let Mother Nature take over. Let Mother Nature do her thing. It's the most powerful thing I have ever learned is how to root and ground. And I'm not necessarily an ungrounded person to begin with. You know, like I'm not an empath, I'm not a psychic or people that live out there. I'm a Scorpio. I'm poof right here, with an opinion and
yeah.
But man, the difference it's made for me and the ability to teach that to other people. And my daughter who's doing a big degree in biochem and stuff. And, we live in a world where in our Western culture now, where they have quiet rooms in elementary schools because kids have anxiety disorder, and they have it in their homes, and they have it outside their homes. And we need to fix this. This is an epidemic. And the fastest way is for us all to imagine that root system going into the earth. It's the best I got.
That's one of my absolute favorite things to do. And it has literally saved me on occasion where I literally needed to do the grounding. And whether it's imaginary or physically taking your shoes and socks off and standing in the grass, I know exactly what you're talking about. I actually had visions come up when you were talking about moments where it was like, it literally, like I was in an anxious state, I was frustrated, I was upset, and I took my shoes off and went and found a piece of grass, and that changed everything. So that one thing is, do it in the morning, but do it at any moment where you feel anxious or stressed. It's such a simple thing.
And I would take it one step further. If you have a favorite tree, and I have a favorite tree.
I have a favorite tree. Pictures
of my favorite tree. I think you took a picture of me.
I have a picture with a favorite tree, yes.
And you're feeling particularly ungrounded. And by ungrounded, we mean stressed out. Like you're stressed out, you don't have mind, you're not sleeping well. Life is taking its toll. You don't get to wake up the way I did this morning when I wanted to, and it just, take a picture of the tree and make it your screensaver.
It is my screensaver on my phone. That's my screensaver. My phone is hugging Karen's favorite tree, which is like, there's a special energy to it. That's a great idea. So Karen, I mean, you and I could talk for hours and hours and hours, and we often do. But to be mindful of the time for our listeners and those that are watching, I want to wrap things up, first of all, with a humongous heartfelt thank you for sharing your wisdom and your guidance with us. But I would like you to just share with me, what is the best way for people to connect with you? I'll share it in the notes for people that are obviously watching or looking, but just if you're just listening, where do I find Karen?
If you go to www.karenshumka.com, so Karen, traditional 1966 spelling, Karen, Shumka, no C, no P, S as in Sam, H, U, M as in mother, K, A, Shumka. It means whirlwind in Ukrainian. I married it. It's not my maiden name.
You literally did marry a whirlwind, though. That's perfect.
It's karenshumka.com. And I created that website myself to really do my very best at explaining what the body code is.
Yeah.
Because it is such a simple body of work. It's so powerful. It's putting you at the forefront of your solutions for your business, for your physical life, for your emotional life, for every aspect of what it means to be human in this journey of life. And so I put it all in that one website. The other thing that I would really encourage is that people just follow us. If you're listen to this conversation up to this point, there's other projects that we are doing with each other, without each other, that could be in alignment for you. So find us on social media, Karen Shumka on Instagram. We're evolving and love to bring the truth that really is, I think it's a capital T truth. When the tide rises, we all.
I totally agree. And well, thank you so much, Karen. I'm excited for us to do more of these fun and exciting sessions together. But as a part of the Self-Love Project, I'm so glad that you shared your wisdom with us. Thank you.
Thank you for doing what you're doing and making a difference on the planet.